اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ياسين والقرآن الحكيم إنك لمن المرسلين على صراط مستقيم تنزيل العزيز الرحيم لتنذر قوما ما أنذر آباؤهم فهم غافلون لقد حق القول على أكثرهم فهم لا يؤمنون إنا جعلنا في أعناقهم أغلالا فهي إلى الأذقان فهم مقمحون وجعلنا من بين أيديهم سدا ومن خلفهم سدا فأغشيناهم فهم لا يبصرون فسواء عليهم أنذرتهم أم لم تنذرهم لا يؤمنون إنما تنذر من اتبع الذكر وخشي الرحمن بالغيب فبشره بمغفرة وأجر كريم. إنا نحن نحيي الموتى ونكتب ما قدموا وآثارهم وكل شيء أحصيناه في إمام مبين. واضرب لهم مثلا أصحاب القرية إذ جاء المرسلون إذ أرسلنا إليهم اثنين فكذبوهما فعززنا بثالث فقالوا إنا إليكم مرسلون قالوا ما أنتم إلا بشر مثلنا وما أنزل الرحمن من شيء إن أنتم إلا تكذبون قالوا ربنا يعلم إنا إليكم لمرسلون وما علينا إلا البلاغ المبين قالوا إنا تطيرنا بكم لئن لم تنتهوا لنرجمنكم وليمسنكم منا عذاب أليم. قالوا طائركم معكم إن ذكرتم بل أنتم قوم مسرفون. وجاء من أقصى المدينة رجل يسعى قال يا قوم اتبعوا المرسلين اتبعوا من لا يسألكم أجرا وهم مهتدون وما لي لا أعبد الذي فطرني وإليه ترجعون أتخذوا من دونه آلهة إن يردني الرحمن بضر لا تغن عني شفاعتهم شيئا ولا ينقذون إني إذا لفي ضلال مبين. إني آمنت بربكم فاسمعون قيل ادخل الجنة قال يا ليت قومي يعلمون بما غفر لي ربي وجعلني من المكرمين. وما أنزلنا على قومي من بعده من جند من السماء وما كنا منزلين إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم خامدون يا حسرة على العباد ما يأتيهم من رسول إلا كانوا به يستهزئون ألم يروا كم أهلكنا قبلهم من القرون أنهم إليهم لا يرجعون وإن كل لما جميع لدينا محضرون وآية لهم الأرض الميتة أحييناها وأخرجنا منها حبا فمنه يأكلون وجعلنا فيها جنات من نخيل وأعناب وفجرنا فيها من العيون ليأكلوا من ثمره وما عملته أيديهم أفلا يشكرون سبحان الذي خلق الأزواج كلها مما تنبت الأرض ومن أنفسهم ومما لا يعلمون وآية لهم الليل نسلخ منه النهار فإذا هم مظلمون والشمس تجري لمستقر لها ذلك تقدير العزيز العليم والقمر قدرناه منازل حتى عاد كالأرجون القديم لا الشمس ينبغي لها أن تدرك القمر ولا الليل سابق النهار وكل في فلك يسبحون وآية لهم أنا حملنا ذريتهم في الفلك المشحون وخلقنا لهم من مثله ما يركبون وإن نشأ نغرقهم فلا صريخ لهم بلا هم ينقذون إلا رحمة منا ومتاعا إلى حين وإذا قيل لهم اتقوا ما بين أيديكم وما خلفكم لعلكم ترحمون وما تأتيهم من آية من آيات ربهم إلا كانوا عنها مؤرضين وإذا قيل لهم أنفقوا مما رزقكم الله قال الذين كفروا للذين آمنوا أنطعم من لو يشاء الله أطعمه إن أنتم إلا في ضلال مبين ويقولون متى هذا الوعد إن كنتم صادقين ما ينظرون إلا صيحة واحدة تأخذهم وهم يخصمون فلا يستطيعون توصية ولا إلى أهلهم يرجعون ونفخ في الصور فإذا هم من الأجداث إلى ربهم ينسلون قالوا يا ويلنا من بعثنا من مرقدنا هذا ما وعد الرحمن وصدق المرسلون إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم جميع لدينا مهلرون فاليوم لا تظلم نفس شيئا ولا تجزون إلا ما كنتم تعملون إن أصحاب الجنة اليوم في شغل فاكهون هم وأزواجهم في ظلال على الأرائك متكئون لهم فيها فاكهة ولهم ما يدعون سلام قولا من رب رحيم سلام قولا من رب رحيم وامتازوا اليوم أيها المجرمون ألم أعهد إليكم يا بني آدم أن لا تعبدوا الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين وأن اعبدوني هذا صراط مستقيم ولقد أضل منكم جبلا كثيرا أفلم تكونوا تعقلون هذه جهنم التي كنتم توعدون اصلوها اليوم بما كنتم تكفرون اليوم نختم على أفواههم وتكلمنا أيديهم وتشهد أرجلهم بما كانوا يكسبون ولو نشاء لتمسنا على أعينهم فاستبقوا الصراط فأنى يبصرون ولو نشاء لمسخناهم على مكانتهم فما استطاعوا مضيا ولا يرجعون ومن نعمره ننكسه في الخلق أفلا يعقلون وما علمناه الشعر وما ينبغي له إن هو إلا ذكر وقرآن مبين لينذر من كان حيا ويحق القول على الكافرين أولم يروا أنا خلقنا لهم مما عملت أيدينا أنعاما فهم لها مالكون وذللنا لهم فمنها ركوبهم ومنها يأكلون ولهم فيها منافع ومشارب أفلا يشكرون واتخذوا من دون الله آلهة لعلهم ينصرون لا يستطيعون نصرهم وهم لهم جند مهضرون فلا يحزنك قولهم إنا نعلم ما يسرون وما يعلنون أولم ير الإنسان أنا خلقناه من نطفة فإذا هو خصيم مبين وضرب لنا مثلا ونسي خلقه قال من يحيي العظام وهي رميم قل يحيي الذي ينشأها أول مرة وهو بكل خلق عليم الذي جعل لكم من الشجر الأخضر نارا فإذا أنتم منه توقدون أوليس الذي خلق السماوات والأرض بقادر على أن يخلق مثلهم بلى وهو الخلاق العليم إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون فسبحان الذي بيده ملكوت كل شيء وإليه ترجعون. صدق الله العلي العظيم وصدق رسول النبي الكريم. صلوات. اللهم صل على محمد وآله.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. عن فاطمة الزهراء عليه السلام بنت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله أن قال دخل علي أبي رسول الله في بعض الأيام فقال السلام عليك يا فاطمة، فقلت عليك السلام. قال إني أجد في بدني زعفا، فقلت له أعوذك بالله يا أبتاه من الزعوف. فقال يا فاطمة ائتني بالكساء اليماني فغطيني به، فأتيت بالكساء اليماني فغطيته به وصرت أنظر إليه وإذا وجهه يتلالو كأنه البدر في ليلة تمامه وكماله. فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولد الحسن عليه السلام قد أقبل وقال السلام عليك يا أمه، فقلت عليك السلام يا قرة عيني وثمة فؤادي. فقال يا أمه إني شمعت راية طيبة كان راية جد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله. فقلت نعم إن جدك تحت الكساء. فأقبل الحسن نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جداه يا رسول الله، أتأذن يدخل معك تحت الكساء؟ فقال وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا صاحب حوزك قد أذنت لك. فدخل معه تحت الكساء فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولد الحسين عليه السلام قد أقبل وقال السلام عليك يا أماه. فقلت وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي. فقال لي يا أماه إني شمعت راية طيبة كان راية جد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله. فقلت نعم إن جدك وأخاك تحت الكساء. فدنا الحسين عليه السلام نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جداه، السلام عليك يا من اختاره الله، أتأذن نكون معكما تحت الكساء؟ فقال وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا شافي أمتي قد أذنت لك. فدخل معهما تحت الكساء. فأقبل عند ذلك أبو الحسن علي بن أبي طالب وقال السلام عليك يا بنت رسول الله. فقلت عليك السلام يا أبا الحسن ويا أمير المؤمنين. فقال يا فاطمة إني شمعت راية طيبة كان راية أخي ابن عمي رسول الله. فقلت نعم ها هو ما ولديك تحت الكساء. فأقبل علي نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله، أتأذن لكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ فقال وعليك السلام يا أخي ويا وسيي وخليفتي وصاحب لواء قد أذنت لك. فدخل علي تحت الكساء. ثم أتيت نحو الكساء وقلت السلام عليك يا أبتاه يا رسول الله، أتأذن لكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ فقال وعليك السلام يا بنتي ويا بزعتي قد أذنت لك. فدخلت تحت الكساء. فلما اكتملنا جميعا تحت الكساء أخذ أبي رسول الله بطرف الكساء وهما بيد اليمنى إلى السماء وقال اللهم إن هؤلاء أهل بيتي وخاصتي وحامتي، لحمهم لحمي ودمهم دمي، يؤلمني ما يؤلمهم ويحزنني ما يحزنهم. أنا حرب لمن حاربهم وسلم لمن سالمهم وعدو لمن عاداهم ومحب لمن أحبهم. إنهم مني وأنا منهم، فاجعل صلواتك وبركاتك ورحمتك وغفرانك ورضوانك علي وعليهم واعذب عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. اللهم صل على محمد. فقال الله عز وجل يا ملائكتي ويا سكان سماواتي إني ما خلقت سماء مبنيا ولا أرضا مدحيا ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئا ولا فلكا يدور لا بحر ولا فلكا يسري إلا في محبتي هؤلاء الخمسة الذين هم تحت الكساء. فقال الأمين جبرائيل يا رب من تحت الكساء؟ فقال عز وجل هم أهل بيت النبوة ومعنى الرسالة هم فاطمة وأبوها وبعلها وبنوها. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. فقال جبرائيل يا ربي أتعذر لأهبط الأرض لأكون معهم سادسا؟ فقال له نعم قد أذنت لك. فأبت الأمين جبرائيل وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله. العلي الأعلى يكرهك السلام ويخصك بالتحية والإكرام ويقول لك وعزتي وجلالي إني ما خلقت سماء مبنيا ولا أرضا مدحيا ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئا ولا فلكا يدور لا بحر ولا فلكا يسري إلا لأجلكم محبتكم وقد أذن لي أن أدخل معكم فلتأذن لي يا رسول الله. فقال رسول الله وعليك السلام يا أمين وحي الله إنه نعم قد أذنت لك. فدخل جبرائيل معنا تحت الكساء فقال لي بإن الله قد أوحى إليكم يقول إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم رجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. فقال علي لأبي يا رسول الله أخبرني ما لجلوسنا هذا تحت الكساء من الفضل عند الله. فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله والذي بعث من الحق نبيا واستفاني بالرسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفي جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا إلا ونزلت عليهم الرحمة وعفت بهم الملائكة واستغفرت لهم إلى أن يتفرقوا. فقال علي عليه السلام إذا والله فزنا وفاز شيعتنا رب الكعبة. فقال بي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله يا علي والذي بعث من الحق نبيا واستفاني بالرسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفي جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا وفي مهموم إلا أفرج الله هما ولا مغموم إلا كشف الله غما ولا طالب حاجة إلا قضى الله حاجته. فقال علي عليه السلام إذا والله فزنا وسعدنا وكذلك شيعتنا فازوا وسعدوا في الدنيا والآخرة ورب الكعبة. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Dr. Dungersi, respected elders, brothers and sisters in Iman, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. On behalf of the Sijni Managing Committee, we would like to wish you all Eid Mubarak. Tonight's Surah Yasin has been sponsored for the Isal Sawab of the Marhumeens that are displayed on the screen. Al-Fatiha. Please note we will be making a forthcoming meeting in regards to a date for our discussion on BOP, which the date will be in early December within the first or second week. As we all know from the announcements, the Grand Miladun Nabi celebration will be taking place next Saturday, September 30th at 1 p.m. starting with Salat, followed by Islamic blockbuster game show, in which we will have an obstacle course, carnival games, an ice cream truck, and an art drive. The links have been sent out on the newswire for you to be a vendor for either the Milad al-Nabi celebration or for the art drive. Join the Al-Mahdi outreach team to walk and support the end of domestic violence. On behalf of the Sijni Managing Committee, we are requesting the community to participate in the Family Harmony Walk and Lunch. The purpose of the walk is to end domestic violence, which will be held at Wantagh Park on Sunday, October 1st at 9:30 a.m. The registration process has been shared with the community via Newswire, as it is for a great cause. The instructions are online. To go to the link and visit the flyer website, www.dhfny.org. Include Al-Mahdi Center by your name on the form, and on the day of the walk, gather at the table/the banner of Al-Mahdi Center. We will be hosting a special meeting on Saturday, October 14th at 4 p.m. to review our expansion plans for Al-Mahdi Center and current status of our Woodside, Jericho, and Uniondale properties. Lastly, please join me in reciting the ayah of Amma Yujib 5 times for all those who are sick here and around the world. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Amma yujibul mustaraiza da'u wa yakshifu su. 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 Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. At this time, please silence your cell phones, put them on vibrate or on do not disturb as we call up Dr. Dungersi. Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat. Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Surah Al-Mubarakat Al-Fatiha. بلغ العلا بكماله كشف الدجى بجماله حسنت جميع خصاله صلوا عليه وآله صلوات. Mu'mineen, these 4 lines were written by Sheikh Sadi, in which he talks about the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wa alihi wa sallam. Balaghal ula bi kamalihi, meaning he, the Prophet, attained the highest of eminence by perfection. Kashafad duja bi jamalihi. Then the Prophet, he displaced darkness by his grace. Hasunat jami'a qithalihi. Excellent were his values. Sallu alayhi wa alihi. Send blessing on him and his progeny. Salawat. أما بعد فقد قال الله سبحانه تبارك وتعالى في كتابه المجيد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون صلوات. This is verses from Surah Shura, part of verse number 227, in which Allah makes a promise. This is a promise from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What is the promise? He talks about those who do wrong, those who oppress, those on whom there is a curse of Allah. When we talk about this curse, sometimes people are some people take it very offensive. They say we should not be cursing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, 44 times there are curses. When we get time, one day I will talk about what are these different types of people who are cursed. 44 verses in the Quran. So Allah then says, on whom there is a curse of Allah, they will soon, when they do all this, they will soon know what will be their end. They can do all they want to do, there is going to be an end for them and they will know. The curse of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you use the word curse, unfortunately this is because of translation. In Arabic, in Quran, curse here does not mean curse which is used in the English language, which these days became a fashion among youths to talk about. Whenever a simple word there is a curse. This is not that curse. Curse here is the rahmah of Allah. Allah removes His rahmah on these people on whom we say there is a curse of Allah. But that's another story, another different things that we talk later on. These punishment of Allah, it comes in different ways. Sometimes this comes in a very short time. One does certain things and Allah punishes that person in this world. Hereafter is another story altogether. But in some time there is a delay. So tonight we look at this night. This day is referred to as Eid E Zehra. Now efforts these days are made to remove this word Zahra and to put something else. And to say this is the day on which we celebrate and we put, a symbol of whatever on the Imam of the time. This is not what it really is. So, the tradition, why do we do this either? Why is this really? Is this an innovation? What is it all about? It's a long story, it's a long tradition. Just briefly, as the tradition is, there are two people who went to visit our 11th Imam, Imam Hassan Askari alayhi salatu wasalam. There was a question that they wanted to ask. There was a problem. So when they went to the house of Imam Hassan Askari, at that time he was out of prison. He spent a lot of his time in prison, but on that particular day he was not in prison. So they go inside, the worker, the person who was working in that house, he says the Imam is having a ghusl. So they waited. When the Imam came out, they saw that he had done ghusl and he had dressed himself and he was like as if he was celebrating a day. So they asked him, Ya Abda Rasulillah, what is this today? Then he tells them and mentions the tradition from Huzaifa Yamani, who said Huzaifa Yamani paid the Prophet visit on a day like that, and he saw the Prophet sitting there with Hazrat Fatima, Amir al-Mu'mineen, and Hasanain, and they were celebrating. And the celebration was that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will punish those who have done wrong to the family of Ahlul Bayt. And that day happened to be the 9th of Rabiul Awwal. So this day that we celebrate is, no one can deny that it's a day of celebration. The only question is, why do we celebrate it? Well, celebration, again, there was one, sometimes we hear certain things which are very strange. On one occasion, during the occasion of this Eid, a Maulana says it's very, very, very wrong to be happy if somebody dies. So you should not celebrate anyone's death. I say, fine. So on the day of Yazid, we should all weep and we should cry. See, sometimes these statements are made unintentionally. They're sending wrong message. Yes, we don't, if somebody goes through difficulties, we don't celebrate, even if it's our enemy, we don't do that. But there are certain individuals who have done certain wrong things. For example, Saddam Hussein, when he was knocked down and killed, the whole world celebrated, and I hope that Maulana also celebrated. I don't know whether he was weeping or crying, maybe, I don't know. See, these are the things that we should be very careful about. So what happened on this day, we don't want to talk much about it. We have heard of it before. A Ma'asum Imam was once asked on certain verses that refer to certain individuals. And the man asked, Ya Rasulullah, these verses, whom does this refer to? Imam looked at him and said, you know whom it refers to, no? He says, yes. He says, why do you want me to name them? So why we are celebrating, one of the reasons you all know, if I don't have to say what it is about, we'll talk about something else of which you may not know. This one we all know. And the curse of Allah is on all those. You were here on the night of the Shahada of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and you heard about those who killed the Prophet. So have I mentioned that again? You all know. So this is a day on which we also sit and think about those people who killed the Prophet and what adab, what curse of Allah is going to fall on them, whoever they were, whoever who were there who killed. So today I will mention about something else, and that is, if you read one salawat. We have just finished. Yesterday was, today, the day was the last day of the normal commemoration that we do, starting from the 1st of Muharram up to the 8th of this month. And therefore, because then there is a day of celebration on the 9th, this is why we are here tonight. For Ahlul Bayt, after the events of Karbala, it is said the family did not celebrate, did not do any celebration. To that extent, it is said the ladies did not even put henna in the hands. They did not decorate themselves up to the year 67. 61 Hijrah, up to 67. 67 Hijrah, they celebrated, they became happy. Why? This is what we are going to talk to about. So we also, by that token, because Al-Halul Bayt celebrated, we also celebrate. Celebrate what? And this is what we will mention today. That the punishment of Allah that he mentions here came fast with those who were in Karbala and who did all those atrocities in Karbala. Here we will mention 8 people very fast. 8 people, only will mention them. There is no time to go into the details. People don't talk much about this. Number 1 was the death of Yazid ibn Muawiyah ibn Abu Sufyan, la'natullah. He died in the year 64. He is one of those that you know behind what he did and what happened in Karbala and after. You have heard all that these 2 months and 8 days. I don't have to repeat that. That Yazid ibn Muawiyah, you will remember, Hazrat Zainab had told him, that Allah and that verses of the Quran in which Allah says there are certain people who think that I am just giving them time. When the time comes, they will see the outcome. And Yazid ibn Muawiyah ibn Abu Sufyan, 64 Hijrah, he died. The things that they do at the age of 37. That person who thought he was the king of the kings, he died, it is said, with a disease that he had turned totally dark. As if he Allah burnt him in this world. And when he died, it is said, next to him was what he used to drink every day, a liquor. This is what happened to Yazid ibn Muawiyah ibn Abu Sufyan. And when he died, some people, others say that he had gone hunting and only part of his body came back. Whatever it is, but he died. And his grave became the site of garbage in Sham. People would go and throw garbage at his grave. This is the punishment of Yazid ibn Muawiyah ibn Abu Sufyan, 64 Hijrah. When did he die? He died at the time when his forces, Muslim ibn Aqaba had gone to Medina, had sacked Medina, had destroyed Medina, and he had told people, do whatever you want, people of Medina, treat them as kafir. And that is, it is said, about 1,000 children who are born out of wedlock. What can I say? It is at that time, and then his forces, Muslim ibn Aqaba, died also immediately. Hasin bin Namir, whom we shall mention, then went to Khana Kaaba, destroyed Khana Kaaba. And then came the news of the death of Yazid. Therefore, he went back to Syria. So this is one mal'un who faced his fate in this world. The second one is Marwan bin Hakam. You remember Marwan bin Hakam was that person who had arranged throwing of arrows at the grave, at the janazah of Imam Hassan. He is the person who had told the governor of Kufa, cut Imam Hussein's neck if he doesn't do bay'ah right now. He is that evil person. Finally, what happened after the death of Yazid, there was a lot of fighting among the Umayyads and the rest of them. Ultimately, Marwan became the Khalifa on the understanding that he was going to take care of Yazid's son, Khalid. Yazid's son Muawiyah had replaced Yazid, but only a few days he went away, he left it. So now it was the turn of Khalid, but Khalid was a young man. So it was made an arrangement that Marwan becomes the Khalifa, and he acts up to that time, and Khalid is ready to take over, he would let him take over and become the Khalif. So he married Khalid's mother. But the way he was ill-treating Khalid, the mother of Khalid, her name mentions is Fatiha in history. She decided to get rid of Marwan. And this is history, and I'll give you sources if you want to. I'm not creating stories. She invited Marwan ibn Hakam in her chamber, made him sleep in the bed. This is history. She took a pillow of feathers, put it on his face, smothered it, and got other ladies, slaves, fat ladies, all of them came and smothered him to death. This is how Marwan ibn Hakam died. And this is history, and I have the sources. So don't think I'm just creating a story. One of the sources is Medlang's book is in English. Other sources are there also. If you want to, I'll give you. This is how Marwan ibn Hakam left this world. Then Mukhtar had taken over. Immediately, he was there for a very short time. 66 Hijri, 67 Hijri. In that time, he went after those who perpetrated the atrocities in Karbala. Among the first one were those 10 people, you remember, who had taken their horses and trampled the body of Sayyid al-Shuhada in Karbala. Mukhtar got all 10 of them, got them lie on the ground, put nails on the hands and on the legs, and then got horses to run over them. And this is history, and I'm just telling you, I'll give you the sources if you want to. And then they burnt their bodies. This has happened to them. And then Mukhtar went after all of them, as many of them as possible. So the third one was Umar ibn Sa'd. Umar ibn Sa'd, you know who he is, son of Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas, one of the Sahabas of the Prophet. And this one very, very influential in Kufa. Now was the time for him. He became like the only way that he could save his skin was that he took shelter in one of the relatives of Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam. And because of that, Mukhtar could not punish him. However, there was a condition, and the condition was Umar ibn Sa'd was to stay in that place, to not come out of the house. He broke the law, he came out, Mukhtar sent his people to catch him. And this is how history described him. The way he was sitting, he took his long jubba that he was to wear, big man, very powerful, very strong, big Sahaba. So he took his abaya as he was to wearing it, they beheaded him. They killed him. And his head was taken to Mukhtar. And Mukhtar sent that head to whom? To Muhammad Hanafiya in Makkah. This is how he met his fate in this world. 66, 64, 65 Hijrah, 66 Hijrah. 4 years after the Waqia of Karbala. Umar ibn Sa'd, Shimr ibn Ziljawshan. Shimr ibn Ziljawshan, when he saw matters in Kufa were getting out of hand, he ran away. Where? He was going to Basra. On the way, the soldiers of Mukhtar caught him. And again, this is history. He came out naked. He must have been sleeping naked, God knows. He came out naked. This is history. I'm not making stories. I'm just telling you what is written in the Maqatil. They also killed him. His body was given to dogs, and the dogs ate his body. This is the punishment that Allah mentions in these verses. This is Shimr ibn Ziljawshan. Khuli. Now I'm not going to mention the sins that they committed. Khuli is that person, again, who was brought in the court of Mukhtar. And Mukhtar used to ask them, and what did you do? They would say, this is all that we do. How? Because for every atrocity that they did, it was recorded. Why? So that they would get bonus for that. For all the sins that they committed in Karbala, they would get a bonus. That's why they got it all recorded. Therefore, they could not deny. It was all recorded of what they had done. And therefore, he could not deny. He said everything that he did and the atrocities that he performed, the same things were done to him. And his body also was burnt. They were not burying them. There was no time of burying these bodies. They all been burnt, put in fire and turned into ashes. Khuli also went, Harmala. Remember Harmala, the one who killed Hazrat Ali Asghar, and the one who used to throw his arrows. 12 arrows that he threw on the day of Ashur. He is also brought forward, and he is also asked in front of Mukhtar, say, what is it that you have done? Now, there is Minhal. Minhal is one of the Sahabas of Masumin. He paid Imam Zayn al-Abidin a visit. Imam Zayn al-Abidin asks him, Minhal, I have heard that Mukhtar is going after the killers of my father, of my family. He says, Yabna Surah, yes. He asks, has anything been done to Hurmala? Imam Zayn al-Abidin remembers Hurmala. Has anything happened to Hurmala? He says, to the best of my knowledge, no. He says, Ya Allah, this is Minhal. He says, Imam raised, Ya Allah, make Hurmala taste fire and hot iron. This is what Imam said. Now, Minhal says, I went to Kufa. At that time, I went to meet Mukhtar. When I went Mukhtar and I was talking with Mukhtar, messages were brought to him. What message? We have caught Harmala. He was trying to run away. He is in our hands. What do we do with him? Burn him, and burn him also with iron. When this happened, Minhal said, Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah. Mukhtar asked, why? He said, this is exactly what Imam Zain al-Abidin had told me, that, Ya Allah, let this man face fire and hot iron. And this is what he has done. Said, Mukhtar asked me, are you sure about this? He says, yes. He says, Mukhtar went into the sajda and prayed 2 rakat of shukr. Minhal says, I'm going to treat you. Come with me, I'm going to treat you. This treating business was there at that time. Come, I'll treat you. He says, I can't because I'm fasting. I'm in a state of fast. I cannot come with you. This is how Harmala met his end. Then Ibn Ziyad and Hasin bin I forget his name. Hasin bin Namir. Yes, Hasin bin Namir. Hasin bin Namir is that person. Remember, he was the commissioner of police in Kufa. And Hazrat Muslim, when he came, Hasin bin Namir was the one who was one of those persons involved in the martyrdom of Hazrat Muslim. Hasin bin Namir is the one person who screamed on the day of Ashur when Imam Hussein wanted to pray. And asked time to pray, he says, your prayers are never accepted. Hasin bin Namir. Hasin bin Namir is that person who went to destroy Khana Kaaba. This is Hasin bin Namir. He also ran away from Mukhtar. He joined the forces of Ibn Ziyad. Now, what happened to Ibn Ziyad? Ibn Ziyad, after the martyrdom of Karbala, he went back to Basra because he was a governor of Basra. When he was in Basra and when Yazid died, he tried to put his own case that Yazid is dead. Ibn Zubayr is now in Makkah and he's claiming to be the next Khalif. So he tried to put his case to become a Khalif himself. It didn't work out. Therefore, the people of Basra threw him out. He had to run away to Sham, Damascus. Fearing that on his way he would be killed, he arranged that he was taken, there were horses, there were camels, in the belly of the camel, they tied him and hid him so that people should not see him on the way or they would kill him. This is that one who would tell Hazrat Zainab, what has Allah done to you people? This is that man with that humiliation, he goes to Damascus. And at Damascus, Marwan ibn Hakam then appoints him to go and destroy Kufa. He cannot do that. In the meantime, Mukhtar arranges to fight him. Now, these are the two people taking care of that big army. They want to go to Kufa again. He is in charge. Ibn Ziyad has been bribed. Everything that you plunder in Kufa, in Iraq, will be yours. You'll keep it. So him and his next man in command was Hasin bin, I just keep forgetting his name, this Hasin. They are the two people. And now is a battle. Big battle takes place. To cut the long story short, in this battle, Ibn Ziyad is killed. And Ibrahim, son of Malik Ashtar, is the one who kills him in this battle. And you know how he killed him? He killed him, and this is again history, he cut him into two pieces. His left side was separated from his right side. This is detailed in history. Even Ibn Asir, Ibn Tabari mentions this. So it's not only the Shia sources, even Tabari. What I'm telling you is also mentioned in Tabari, who is not a Shia. That Ibn Ziyad was cut into two pieces. They cut his neck, they took his head. And again, it is said that a snake would go through his mouth, the head that was there, go through the mouth and come out of the nostrils. This is Ibn Ziyad. Now, after killing Ibn Ziyad, his head, therefore, was sent to Medina. Mukhtar sent his head to Medina, to whom? To Imam Zain al-Abidin. And after the event of Karbala, Imam Zain al-Abidin every morning used to have majlis in his house. For this majlis is a very, very important institute. And therefore it's very something which we should value, because slowly majlis is becoming into lecture. Yes, majlis is becoming into a lecture. Slowly and slowly it's becoming a lecture. Mind you, Imam Zain al-Abidin did not have lectures. He would have masail of his father. Every morning he would have majlis. After the prayers there would be food, or he would serve food also. And therefore I don't know what happened. First of Muharram up to 29th of Safar, we had niyaz. We couldn't have one niyaz for today for the shahada of our 11th Imam. I mean, sometimes we ask this question, not that we want to criticize anybody, but sometimes we ask that, so it was a small wafat, I understand. So we used to do it in Zanzibar. We used to talk about Kushali Dogo, Wafat Kubwa, Wafat Dogo, and this used to be Wafat Dogo. It's a small wafat, so, you know. But these are the things we should be very careful about. Anyway, that's what I had to say. I just said it. So, Hasir bin Namir there was the second in command. He also was killed in that battle, and his head also was sent to Medina. So Imam Zain al-Abidin used to have this, and then they would open the door, and there were others who were not praying behind him, but they still wanted to come and eat niyaz. You know, some people eat niyaz and they go away. So they were waiting outside, some of these people. The doors would be open. They would all go inside. They're all welcome. Come and eat. Niyaz is niyaz. So at that time, these people who brought the heads announced that we have the head of Ibn Ziyad with us. And when that head was brought, that is the time Imam Zain al-Abidin went into Sajda. And that became the official day on which the ladies of Ahlul Bayt ended that period of mourning. This was in the year 67. Karbala took place in 61, and Ahlul Bayt for 7 years. So this will tell that person who's asking, Muharram and Safar, 2 months? What is for 2 months? Why 2 months? For him, the answer is, Bapa, Masumin and the family of Ahlul Bayt did it for 7 years. So if we do Adha of Sayyidul Shuhada for 1-2 months, what is the big deal? And then there is, again, I keep on saying this, keep on repeating this so that people should remember this. On the 7th of Safar, we observe the Shahada of Imam Hassan. There is a riwayat for that effect. There is also the day on which our 7th Imam was born. But when we have this period of mourning, we don't celebrate. So what we do is we fix this 7th Imam, 7th month, 7th day. The month of Rajab, 7th day of Rajab, we celebrate the wiladat of Imam Musa ibn Ja'far. However, if somebody wants to do wafat for that day, do it. There are some centers where they can do it. I had one gentleman who came here and he tells me that this is the night of wiladat and you people are doing shahadat here. I said, who told you that? This man told me in this center. I said, then go tell him to have that center wafat and you can go and have meet matam and do whatever you want to do. Let us do what we have to do. See, there is this tendency sometimes to think that we Khojas are very ignorant. They come from all over the world to come and teach us some lessons. Sometimes we accept it. This is because our people are like that. But I should have some respect that some of the traditions that we have, they're based on sound reasoning. It's not that we just do it. Like Eid E Zehra, we do it because it's a Because do we celebrate today that because the Imam of the time became the Imam? No, we don't do that. It's not a celebration per se. The first Imam, his coronation was declared on the day of Ghadir. That was the first Imam. All the other imams, there is no celebration per se. But when it comes to this is the end of that period. Now, this is the end. The next imam would not be visible. And therefore, it is important that we remind people every year that this imam, his father, passed away on this day, and he assumed that role on this day. And this is the reason why, even in Mafatihul Jinan, it is stated that this is a day which is an important day for us, because it is a day on which our 12th imam started his imamah. It's not that we are sitting here and celebrating like Bohora, something you are like Bohoras. On the day of Ashur, they celebrate on the 11th of... See, this is the short-sightedness sometimes. Think about what we are doing. Ask, and you will be told. So this month of Rabiul Awal then is very, very important. And therefore, I will end here saying that this is how all of these people, and then there are all others we could have mentioned, how each one of them were punished. There are others who escaped, but they also found some way or another were being punished by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So therefore, inshallah, tonight, tomorrow then is highly recommended to do a few things. One is recommended, if you look Mafatul Jinan, you'll find it is there. One is tomorrow, feed mu'mineen. Invite mu'mineen. Feed them. Have it like a festival in that sense. Feed mu'mineen. Second thing is dress well on that day. Put perfume. Let the family know today is the day of Eid. Because certain things, as we have said, we are not going to mention now, because you all know. Our children don't know. If you don't tell them today is a day of Eid and whisper in their ears, tell them why there are certain things we do not say it in public, but this is what happened. Tell them, celebrate, give gifts to your family member. And there are a lot of du'as, prayers to be performed tomorrow. So tomorrow is that day of Eid. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala therefore has honored you all that you were able to come here. Otherwise, with this weather outside, I was thinking today of Marhum Murtaza Bahosh. Murtaza Bahosh Marhum was a very good friend. He would always tell me if the criticism you gave me, valuable criticism. Today it was this, today is this, today. And he would tell me, he said, the day when I will see you reading Yasin, I would turn to his wife and I would say, today Raza Dungersi is alone, there is no one there. Because then it becomes 3 in 1. We read Yasin, everything, because there were no people here. So I was thinking today, Marhum is not here, wherever he is, he'll also be talking about me. But alhamdulillah, it didn't happen. May Allah bless you all for taking your time and being part of this celebration, in which day we all celebrate and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to fulfill all your hajat. For all of you who are here, those who are not here, all your hajat, there are those people who are going through financial problems. Ya Allah, solve their problems, widen their sustenance. There are those who are sick. Ya Allah, give them shifa and give Muslimin and Mu'mineen strength wherever they are to meet the challenges that they face from all corners of the world. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
أفضل الصلاة محمد وآل محمد हम हुसैन वाले हैं हम हुसैन वाले हैं हम हुसैन वाले हैं हम हुसैन वाले हैं یہ ہماری قسمت ہے، ہم حسین والے ہیں، ہم حسین والے ہیں، ہم حسین والے ہیں۔ جواب بھائیو، ہم حسین والے ہیں، ہم حسین والے ہیں۔ ہم نبی کے عاشق ہیں، ہم علی کے دیوانے، ہم نبی کے عاشق ہیں، ہم علی کے دیوانے، اور حسن سے نسبت ہے، ہم حسین والے ہیں، ہم حسین والے ہیں، ہم حسین والے ہیں۔ ہم سے فاطمہ زہرا کر چکی ہے ایک وعدہ، ہم سے فاطمہ زہرا کر چکی ہے ایک وعدہ، اب ہماری جنت ہے، ہم حسین والے ہیں، ہم حسین والے ہیں، ہم حسین والے ہیں۔ یا علی کی مدحت ہے، یا حسین کا ماتم، یا علی کی مدحت ہے، یا حسین کا ماتم، ہر نفس عبادت ہے، ہم حسین والے ہیں، ہم حسین والے ہیں، ہم حسین والے ہیں۔ ہم بتاتے دنیا کو، ہم سے پوچھتی دنیا، ہم بتاتے دنیا کو، ہم سے پوچھتی دنیا، غم میں کتنی لذت ہے، ہم حسین والے ہیں، ہم حسین والے ہیں، ہم حسین والے ہیں، ہم حسین والے ہیں، ہم حسین والے ہیں۔ افضل الصلاۃ محمد و آل محمد، صلو علی محمد۔ یا نبی سلام علیکہ، یا رسول سلام علیکہ، یا حبیب سلام علیکہ، صلوات اللہ علیکہ، یا نبی سلام علیکہ، یا رسول سلام علیکہ، یا حبیب سلام علیکہ، صلوات اللہ علیکہ۔ أشرق البدر علينا فاختفت منه البدور، مثل حسنك ما رأينا قدت يا وجه سروري يا نبي سلام عليك يا رسول سلام عليك يا حبيب سلام عليك صلوات الله عليك أنت شمس أنت بدر أنت نور فوق نور أنت إكسير وغالي أنت مصباح صدوري يا نبي سلام عليك يا رسول سلام عليك يا حبيب سلام عليك صلوات الله عليك أفضل السلام والسلام وعليك يا رسول الله محمد وآل محمد صلوات صلوا على محمد إلهي ببما ردشت بلا جو بیمار ہو جلد پاوے شفا الہی برائے امام زمان ہمیں ہول میں شر سے دے تو امان قیامت کو معشور ہو علی اٹھے قبر سے کہے کہ ہم یا علی ہے پانچ نو مرجہاداتان احمد وعلی زہرا وحسن شبیر سے لے تا امام زمان شبیر سے لے تا امام زمان ایک ایک پہ صدا صلوات پڑھو صلوات صلوات کے اس پہ نثار گوہر جو نبی بلند صفات ہوئے صلوات صلوات و سلام یا امام زمان فرماؤ ظہور یا امام زمان صلوات
السلام عليك يا رسول الله السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدة النساء العالمين السلام على الحسن المجتبى السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي هلت بفنائك عليك مني جميعا سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبكي الليل والنهار ولا جعل الله آخر عهد مني لزيارتكم السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين جميعا رحمة الله وبركاته السلام عليك يا غريب الغرباء سلطان أبا الحسن علي بن موسى الرضا كن شفيعنا وشفيع والدينا في يوم الجزاء ورحمة الله وبركاته السلام عليك صاحب العصر والزمان الأمان 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 السلام عليك شرك القرآن السلام عليك كعبة الإيمان السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته